Hi, I'm Dawn.
I'm Ashley.
And this is Mel.
Welcome to the Work It, You Are Worth It podcast.
We are here to discuss awareness, growth, and healthy relationships.
Are you ready?
Hey, Mel. Hey, Ash. How are you guys today?
Fantastic. How are you guys doing? Sorry, my voice is like really I was out last night again
You party
dancing
animal.
and singing. Yeah, we went to see a cover band. They cover glam metal. You remember like Motley Crue and
Oh, yeah.
stuff like and Poison and Bon Jovi. So yeah, we were there last night. My voice.
The classic rock nowadays.
Classic rock, I
How the
know.
fuck did that become classic rock?
How did
Like,
Billy Idol become classic
I'm not.
rock? I was like saw that the other day. I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm getting old."
I'm not. It's not in my classic music era. I'm like, no.
Yeah, to
That's
me
like,
classic rock is still the Beatles and
yes, because I am not old enough for classic rock
yeah, me
in my
neither. Especially
lifetime.
my genre. My
Right.
genre like or my music from that time. I couldn't believe it.
Hey, Ash.
Hi, I'm good. Sorry, I was just over here listening and thinking, and I love classic rock, and I agree it's not classic rock. I mean, it is obviously, but I'm not that old, so it's not.
It's just weird. It's weird when people like Colin will say it, and I'm like, what?
Yeah,
Like,
like when did Motley Crue become classic rock? But whatever.
and he's always amazed. We'll be in the car when we travel. He'll be like, "Do you know all the words to all the songs?" And but we're listening to a
Yep.
classic rock channel, and I'm like, that's there's my core
Grew
memories,
up with it.
right? And so that actually saying that like that's I have all these memories like. And I know you guys see them on memes on social media, like, right? I can't remember where I put my keys, but I can remember the lyrics to a song from 20 years ago.
Absolutely. And
That's
what
so
I was
funny.
doing while that song came on, and when
Yes.
my favorite part of that song,
It's
like there's a whole flashback related to that song.
oh
Yes.
yeah. But nowadays, not so much. Not so much.
Man.
The music nowadays doesn't mean as much. I hate to say it like that.
Oh,
Um,
it's so
but
overly
some of
produced.
it
Yeah.
does. Some of the music has a lot of heart to it, but a lot of the music nowadays just doesn't have a lot of heart left in it.
I feel it just, I don't know. I guess the best way for me, it just doesn't hit my soul where,
Yeah.
and maybe it's because my memories are wrapped around, like, right, we were talking, and this is the transition into what we're going to talk about. Ironically, coincidentally, HP, whatever. But like I think about my 14, my high school years, really. I think about that and after, like everything was based around music. Like music was always playing, whether it was in my room, was in my car, it was um and so like a song will come on and I can remember I remember this one song. You know the song We Built This City?
Yeah.
Okay.
Starship, right?
Yeah. So I was dating this guy in my freshman year of high school, and we would watch his brother. I don't know if I told you guys this story or what. I'll just tell it again. We were watching his little brother, and his little brother was in elementary school, and we were sitting on the couch, and we were watching MTV because MTV, cool.
MTV was the thing.
God, yes, right. And this song comes on, and when he sings it, he sings, "We built this city on Mark and Dawn," and I cannot unhear that. The guy's name was Mark or Mike and Dawn. Mike and Dawn. Sorry, I put in Mike and Dawn. And I hear that every time I hear that song. It's like that core memory that's in the center and I can't unhear it.
That is
No
so
matter
cute.
what you do.
I like that story.
So so anyways, I was telling you guys earlier, and we decided, hey, let's get this on a podcast. I was watching a show this weekend on Netflix, and it's called The Witness, and it's a docu-series. Thank you, Ashley. Um, and it was a true story about this little boy and his mom, and the mom was brutally murdered, like she was stabbed like 49 times and sexually assaulted, and the little boy watched the entire thing, and he was like 3.
He was a young two when it happened.
Okay. Okay.
Yep, young two. He had just turned two. I watched the first two episodes.
Okay. Okay. And so, that's why you didn't, the third, what I heard was in the third episode. So anyways, it was, he, not to, I'm not ruining anything, but as it bounced between him being this child being an adult and this child being when it was happening, when it happened. And in his trying to resolve this for himself, he went to see the murderer's psychologist, and they were talking about what happened and why, and he was trying to understand this guy to understand why he did it. Um, and she said, she's like, people that have trauma and were neglected tend to not remember things from their childhood. Meaning, like she said, and she used the example birthdays and Christmas. And people that do have those memories will remember those because they felt safe. And so we were talking about this earlier, and it hit me because, like, I know and even through all my, like, with road recovery work, I knew I didn't have these memories. Like, I can remember, do remember one birthday, but here, my birthday is the 3rd of January. So, right, my birthday never got celebrated. It was always celebrated with something else. But I do remember one birthday celebration, and I love to fondue. I used to love to fondue, and we sat in the dining room, and my mom made fondue, and we got asti spumante, and my parents let me have some, but it was New Year's Eve. So it was a New Year's Eve celebration. It wasn't my birthday, but they told me it was my birthday celebration. Um, so I think and so, but like uh, seeing, like, thinking about birthdays, thinking about Christmas, I just don't remember them. They were not. Now there was a point they were a thing. And Ashley, you said like 14, 13, 14. Then it was. Then they start coming in, but they're not like there's not a ton of them. And again, my birthday's on January 3rd, so it does get overlooked. But um, and you guys kind of said you didn't have many memories either.
So I also throughout my entire childhood there are like there's memories, there's big splotches of a memory, right? Like I remember sitting on my grandfather's lap playing Atari, and I couldn't have been, he died when I was in first grade. So it had to have been younger than that. I remember my grandmother's sunroom and the birds that used to come to the
Yeah.
sunroom. But she sold that house when I think I was in fifth grade when she sold that house. So I have some childhood memories. I remember going camping with my parents. Like there's definitely
Yeah.
some good memories. There is several very vivid, very clear bad memories. Um, and then there's a whole lot of just black. It's not even blackness. It's just blank. It's just like there's
Yeah.
nothing there. It just doesn't exist.
Hmm.
As far as like as you're talking about birthdays and Christmases, and I'm trying to think now, right? My birthday is the first week of December, so typically it was pushed to Christmas. I
Right. Because
didn't,
that's
and
when
my
you were going to
mom's
see everybody.
birthday, right. And my mom's birthday is 2 days before Christmas. So rather than having three celebrations at once, we would just have one celebration, and it would be my birthday slash Christmas. But as you can imagine, having a birthday with Christmas, what's a birthday present? What's a Christmas present? Am I really
Exactly.
getting twice
100%.
as many gifts as everybody else when I should get twice as many gifts as everybody else?
And in a
No,
and in a child
right?
brain, I think about this because I would celebrate my birthday as well with my grandparents on, especially when we moved about an hour away from them. I'd see them, and it would be during Christmas. But then there was all my
Right.
cousins that were there that were also getting celebrated in my
Yep.
childlike brain. And it wouldn't have mattered if I got more presents or less presents. It's really, oh, everybody's getting presents, so now this isn't about Dawn.
Right, right. Well, and I mean, I don't think I mean, maybe I'm wrong because I don't have a whole lot of memory of it, but I don't think
Yeah, right.
I ever got more presents.
Yeah, I
Now,
don't think I did either. I think because my grandparents always gave one thing.
right, to be fair though, I have this memory of the feeling, right? So like my stepfather, Christmas morning was like his favorite. He always
Mm,
did Santa Claus, and there
yeah.
was nothing under the tree when you went to bed. And then when you woke up in the morning, the tree was full. Christmas morning was my stepfather went out of his way to make that magical. I remember that feeling of awe as I walked down the stairs, but then I have no other memory of it. And I
Okay.
don't remember a birthday, right? Like I remember seeing pictures of people gathered round. I remember knowing we were going to grandparents' houses. I remember mom being miserable and trying to cancel everything and mom and dad fighting and but
Hmm.
like the actual Christmas
Like the
or the
celebration.
right, I don't remember those. I don't have any memory of those. That's
Yeah.
interesting. I think it like if you focus on the actual celebration only instead of like thinking about do I remember my entire childhood? But I
Right. It's
don't
not
think we're
that.
supposed to remember
No.
like I'm not going to remember sitting down and eating dinner 5 days a week for 20
No.
years. You
And
know
that
what I
is a
mean?
in my when I was looking this up, like that is a consideration, right? Childhood amnesia happens because we lose things, we lose, we remember bits and pieces, and I'm the same way. Actually, there's a lot of stuff I remember. Like I remember the year my mom had to take us out in a blizzard on a snowmobile with a stranger because she couldn't stay up. God forbid if we stayed with my dad, we could not be with her. But I don't remember the celebration, right? I don't remember what happened after this moment in time. I don't even remember like the drive home. It was like, and I think yeah, I don't, it's the celebrations. It's the good. It was, but, and so they talk about it being like neglect, like, and I really didn't like the trauma and the neglect part of it. What hit me was the safe word. Like she said, people that remember it felt they felt safe. So to me, it's almost like the safe and non-safe thing.
I
I know, like, when I was a little kid, I didn't feel safe being myself because I was always told to stop being who I was. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yes, I know
I was
that.
always told to stop talking or stop doing this and stop doing that, stop
Go
being so
light
bold,
somewhere.
stop, go outside, go do this.
Hmm.
Like, I don't really remember. And I also remember tiptoeing around a lot of the adults in the house and their
Yeah.
moods.
Oh yeah.
So, um, or yeah,
it's
yeah.
so
But
interesting
I
to
honestly
think
don't really
of
remember Christmases and stuff. I'm actually really racking my brain. Like I
I
remember a
know.
few memories, but I don't remember. And birthdays? Yeah, I don't really remember
I I can
birthdays at all.
remember. I remember like a birthday like right around 5. I think it was like my fifth birthday, and I really wanted a Mickey Mouse calculator, and there was a present under the tree, and I sneaked it unwrapped to see if that's what it was, and it was. Like I remember that. That is like the last kind of Christmas memory I have for a long stretch of time. And I'm wondering if it is related around, like, we moved away from my grandparents, so I wasn't staying with them as much. Like, did something happen?
it's it's super interesting to consider the idea of if a person felt safe.
Hmm.
So to consider what feels safe for one person versus what feels safe for another, Mel, kind of like what you were mentioning, right? If the parents are stressed out and they're overworked and they're tired and they're snappy at each other and they tell the kid to just go outside and just be quiet and just go sit down, then the kid doesn't feel safe to kind of just be themselves. They're walking on eggshells.
Hmm.
That's such an interesting of I don't feel safe versus like a childhood where if you looked at somebody wrong, your head would go through a wall.
Yeah, like
right?
Yeah.
I remember a lot. I wasn't allowed to make eye contact um with a specific person growing up. And if I did, the like she would tell me I have cat eyes. Like you have cat eyes, stop looking at me. You know what I mean? And I was just a kid. And and then growing up, like one of the when I met Rob's mom for the first time, she actually said to Rob, I don't like her. She won't look me in the eyes. I had the took me the longest time to make eye contact with somebody. It was
It's
something I
so
had to
interesting.
teach myself because I was
Mine's
eye
the
contact with
opposite.
eye contact was something that um I one of my parent well I have met one of the parents didn't like it if I looked her in the eye.
Mine's the opposite, Mel. That's so interesting you say that. So, my mother and my stepfather demanded eye contact at all times, whether they were screaming and yelling and berating or crying or being loving, or it didn't matter. And it didn't matter how you felt. They demanded eye contact at all times.
Mm-hmm.
And as I have progressively gotten older, I find that one of the reasons I have been labeled as intimidating
Mhm.
is because I make quote unquote aggressive eye contact.
Yeah.
I
Which is
don't look
so
away when we speak. I've had to force myself to like, oh, look over here, but still listen because I struggle to listen if I'm not looking at you. And that's because my whole life I've been forced, like, even to the point that I taught myself how to look at the center of a forehead
Oh,
because
yeah.
it looks like you're looking in the eye. And then if I look in the center of your forehead, there's a certain song I can sing in the back of my head to where I don't hear you, I don't react to you, I don't flinch, but I'm still staring you dead in your eye as far as you're concerned. But like, and I remember being like, we lived in, gosh, I couldn't have been 8 years old when I taught myself. I actually, my boyfriend, quote unquote boyfriend at the time taught me that trick. I couldn't have been 8 years old because of based off where we lived, but I have a very clear memory of staring my mother in her center of her forehead, singing a song in my head as she screamed and yelled and berated. And I mean, I can picture the look on her face. I can
Hmm.
see her head, I can see her face, I can see her hair. I can I can see it all. But I couldn't tell you for the life of me what she was saying. She was just angry as hell at me. I don't know why. And it's not a specific time. It's
Right.
like a consistent, like that was a regular thing. And so yeah, now at 43 years old, I find that I have to intentionally remind myself to stop staring, quote unquote, staring at people as they speak because they find that intimidating. Whereas my parents thought it was respectful and it was demanded of me at all times, no matter how I felt or what I thought.
um there'll be times when I'll be like someone will be talking to me and I won't be looking at them. I'll be looking off that they actually turn their heads
It
to
just, it,
see what I'm
happens to
looking
me
at. And
too.
I'm not. I just like eye contact is just something that's really difficult. But I'm actually really good at it now, but it was something I really
Yeah.
struggled with a long time ago.
Well, I think
I
there's that idea of being less than, right? I think about this person you're talking about, Mel, and I don't know this person, but that saying, "Don't stare at me, your cat eyes," right? She's basically in how my childlike brain would have worked was, "Oh, now I'm not good enough. Now I'm not good enough." So I made myself small, right? It was just another area that I had, like, I would have had to make myself small in, right? It wasn't the one that just made me
Maybe
small all the
small. I
time.
felt bad. Like I felt like
Yeah.
I was a bad person.
Small. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Like
I wasn't.
you shrunk yourself because
Yeah,
bad.
well,
Yeah.
yeah. Or I wasn't allowed to show emotion because I guess I have really expressive eyes. I get big, big, big tears and they're big,
Mm.
and maybe she just couldn't look at them. Who knows?
see, I
Or
didn't, when
go
I
ahead.
say you felt bad, when I hear you say you felt bad, Mel, I don't. I don't hear that you shrunk yourself because I didn't shrink myself when I felt bad. I felt bad because I was quote unquote mean. I was a predator. I was going to hurt somebody. I was aggressive. I was bad. I was not like I wasn't good enough. There was that feeling too, but that was different than I was bad. When I was bad, I was going to hurt somebody or I was scary. I never ever hurt anybody in my whole entire life. I never hurt anybody.
Hmm.
And that is the feeling that like when somebody made me feel like I was bad, it was like they were afraid of me, like I was going to hurt them, like I was dangerous in some way, shape, or form, even
As a
though I
child?
knew I wasn't. Yes, as a child.
Okay.
Like like
But I
my
think
mom or
I
my
was
sister
Mm.
or like they would say things like that, like don't get away from me, get stop it, that's enough, you're gonna, I don't like that, you're stop, quit looking at me like that. And I'd be like, what do you think I'm gonna kill you just by looking at you? Like I'm not a danger to you.
there
As a
is this
child.
there's this picture in my baby book, and I'm like 18 months to 2 years, and my hand's already out like this. And supposedly, as a little girl, I would go, I'm a bad girl. And my parents would, they would tap
Mm,
my
wow.
hand. And I was taught that since I was 2, that I was a little bad girl. So there you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
And
I,
it's something that was cute. Like they
yeah,
thought that was
right.
really cute. But at 2, I was already telling myself I was a bad girl. So,
I think when we were talking, and I was just now, something was like I think about when Ash you said it, like there's when I think about Dylan, I think right overall, like if we can compare air quotes around that childhoods, his was like great compared to mine, and mine was great compared to others, right? It's there's not a comparison that mine was any it was worse than somebody else's. It's just for me this is what it was, and for him this is what it was. And when what popped in my head was maybe I was safe, but Mark wasn't safe. And so for him and his trauma could be very, which I know this is true. We've talked about this part, but I've talked about this part with Dylan, right? His trauma is around Mark. And I really am really interested to talk to him to understand this, but like to really understand this because I want to understand him and like understand. So I feel like I need to understand him so I can understand me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I'm one of those people that really want to examine myself. And
Yeah.
as we've all just said and talked about our childhoods, I think about my children's childhood, and my kids have no idea. They were so sheltered. They had it so good comparably, right? I use air
Right.
quotes when
Yep.
I say that because who's to compare, right? Like you guys reminded me earlier as we were talking, it depends on um each separate person how deep the trauma is, right?
Hmm.
Like if you imagine a Boston Terrier who is a foot tall standing next to a German Shepherd who is 4 foot tall, and you put them
Or
both in a mud
Ridgeback.
puddle, right? You put them both in a mud puddle. One's going to be up to its neck or its chest, and the other's barely going to be at its ankles.
Yeah.
Um, and so right, different trauma for different people, and it's such an interesting. I use the word interesting relatively, I guess, or lightly. I'm not sure what word to use. It's an interesting concept to look at the childhood my oldest 2 children had versus the childhood my youngest
Yeah.
has versus the childhood I had versus what is trauma and what one person may consider trauma to what somebody different considers trauma. And it almost makes me wonder if we as human beings aren't registered to find trauma in our lives,
what do you
right?
mean by
Like
that? Explain that.
like like if you had the ideal parenting, the ideal mother and father, and they were aware of themselves and you were aware of yourself, and this ideal childhood, would there still be something that was traumatic to you? Because that is a human nature, is to feel trauma within our lives.
I think if you look at it, if you, okay, like take the situation where you've got three siblings, two parents, everyone's childhood was different.
Right.
They all went through the same thing. They all experienced things relatively in the same situation, but they all handled it a little bit differently. And I think there's a lot that goes into play with that. Like you're talking physiological ways that you process information,
Mm.
your neural pathways, your sensitivity, who you are as a person to and because I'm a little bit witchy and stuff like that, your birth sign.
Yeah.
A Scorpio is going to be a way more emotional than a Leo. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like to me that comes into play as the person and how they experience and I'll even go a little bit deeper than that. I mean, for myself, I believe that my higher power put me into this life and I'm supposed to experience specific things and have experience specific traumas just to become the person I am.
Right.
So, it, you
But wouldn't
know,
be sitting here without the
Well,
trauma
and
that I
yeah, I wouldn't
experienced.
be
So
sitting here if I didn't have
I had,
drama.
right, I had to
Yeah.
have that trauma to
right.
be here. So,
And my trauma is not for nothing. I'm here
right.
on a self-help podcast belonging to a self-help group where we have lots of people now that listen to us and
Mm-hmm.
and to help them that
Right.
Well,
and
and I
now
guess
I know what
that's
my purpose for all
Yeah.
of it was. It was all for not for naught. It wasn't for nothing. It was so I have a message. You
Yeah.
have a message. Ash has a message.
yes, and I mean, I don't know. I'm just still sitting and thinking about this idea that one person can how to make this into something that is so easily understood. Like like one person can stub their toe on the corner of the wall and not be able to walk for 6 weeks, while another person stubs their toe on the corner of the wall and goes to work an hour later.
Yeah.
And yet another person stubs their toe on the corner of the wall and ends up losing their entire leg. Um, right? Because infection sets in and
Yeah.
whatever, right? Like and to think that it's the same speed, it's the same angle, hell, it's the same wall, but you can have three very, 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 very different, or five, or eight, or 10 very, very different reactions to that exact same level of stimulus. Um, I don't know. For me, I'm just kind of stuck on. It's kind of mind blowing to me right now. It's kind of like I'm struggling with saying that yes, that trauma is the same and that pain is similar, because I don't think that trauma is the same. And I absolutely understand how another person who have never experienced that level of trauma can feel as though their level of trauma is the same. Does that make sense at all?
It actually makes perfect sense. To me, it makes perfect sense. Like what you're saying and I think you tied it up nicely. Like, right, it's somebody, this can happen to somebody, and this can happen to somebody. They're very different, right? They're not the same. But when somebody feels their trauma, it could feel as bad as it feels for you. And it could be very different.
Hmm.
Um, I think of Dylan and Colin, actually. That's what I think about when we're talking about this, because Mark came into Dylan's life at 3. Obviously, Mark is Colin's dad, so he was there from day one. And Dylan, I um, Mark went out of Dylan's life, or I divorced Mark when he was shit, man. Sometimes it's crazy how long it's been. He was 18 and Colin would have been 8. And I think about how different they are, right? It's a different trauma. Like Dylan has trauma, right? Again, not, and I'm not going to justify his level of trauma because again, it's his trauma and it feels like heavy compared to like if I compare our trauma, his is like nothing. And it feels the same, just like you said, Ash. So I'm not going to justify that. I'm just going to say his trauma for him is way different than Colin's. But and so I think it's interesting that experience with in the same household, the same unhealthiness on my part, right? Mark still being Mark. They're so different. It's unique. It's just it's a hard thing to like explain.
I agree with you 100% though, because like when I look at Jeb was 3 when Nick came into the picture,
Hmm.
and Cameron was born at 6 years later,
Yeah.
right? So when Nick left, Jeb was 17 and Cam was I don't even
11,
Cam was 8,
10. Oh,
9.
really? Okay.
Well, so she was 11 when he moved to
Okay.
Florida, but it had been 2 years before that. So Cam had a very different life, right? Like,
Yeah.
and so the life that Cameron had versus the trauma that Cameron had versus the trauma that Jeb and Destiny had,
Hmm.
while very similar in different ways, they were very, very different.
Yeah.
Very, very like Cameron has a very different emotional intelligence level than Destiny.
Right.
Destiny is my oldest. She's my firstborn. Cameron is my youngest. Their lives have been very different, yet they grew up in the exact same house with the same
Hmm.
people around, with the same people in their lives and involved in their lives, right? The same
Yep.
core 10 people that we all interacted with, but they just had such different experiences within that life
Yeah.
that their levels of understanding and their levels of logic and their levels of forethought and their levels of afterthought and interrogation within themselves and awareness within themselves, it's all so different.
Yeah.
And what one considers trauma, the other is just like that's just life. That's not like that. Like that's who cares? That's my everyday life. I didn't even think about that. Right. Like for
Colin.
one, her dad leaving is this most traumatic, huge,
Oh, yeah.
horrible situation in her life. And for the other one, her dad leaving, she's just like, so what? Who cares?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's just
Yeah.
another day in paradise. Who the fuck cares?
And I think that's just based on the child
Hmm.
too, like their level of sensitivity. There's some children that are just, I was a sensitive child, very sensitive.
I
I
think it's
felt
all
everything
people.
inside. I felt everything,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you
I think
know?
it's all people. I don't think it's just children. I think
A lot
as
of
we
people, yeah.
discuss it more and more, and the more we talk about it, the more I see and I am accepting that, yes, like maybe this person's childhood was filled with physical abuse in the most extreme sense that some of us can't even imagine. And that is extremely traumatic, while this other person's childhood, it was some emotional neglect and maybe some judgmental parents, while this other person's childhood was maybe picture perfect from the outside, but the dad didn't ever speak to them. And so it was horribly emotional neglect, right? Like it can be very different situations and very different levels of trauma, but they can be experienced to, like the wound can be just as deep and
Yeah.
dangerous,
It will,
even though
yeah,
it's a different weapon.
Yeah.
yeah. I think like any kind of hurt like that, you know what they say between the ages of 0 to 7, that's where the pathways created,
Yeah.
that the belief.
I
That's where you form your basic firm beliefs that we're at 53, I'm healing from today.
shit.
You know?
I think about when I think, and with that, Mel, this makes me even really want to say this. I was gonna say something, I was gonna let it go, but then now you said this. I look at Dylan and Colin, right? 0 to 7, they were in this. They basically were both had Mark in their lives for that period of time, and Dylan will still, when it's just the three of us, and something happens, and Colin will do something or he'll say something to me. Dylan's very quick to say, do you know if I would have said that, I would have gotten yelled at. I would have gotten this. I would have gotten that. And what I hear in that is I hear one, jealousy, right? There's jealousy in that. And that is his to figure out. It's not something I would ever, because I'm not telling someone how to navigate their own recovery and their own self um help. But that's a jealousy he's got to figure out. Why am I jealous? But he's got to come to that. And that's not my thing. And then Colin over here is like, what? Like, huh? Like, I don't get it. But then there's Colin, who is, if you say something the wrong way, or like if his feelings get hurt, that is very devastating. That hurts him. He feels that. But but Dylan, you can say something and it's a oof, but he's kind of got those walls to like reflect. Like it doesn't hurt as that. Colin's core hurt. Dylan, it's like, oof, and he bounces it back off. And I think
Right.
it's because of the way what they experienced as well. Like Ash, you and I, and Mel, you too. Like, right, we're all really strong women. Bring the shit on, because I'm gonna bust through that shit. I'm a strong. I've got this. I can take care of it. I can take on anything that you throw at me. That for me. That was what I. That is how I learned to protect myself.
Yeah, it became a piece of my identity.
Yes, it kept me safe.
It still does. I mean,
Yeah,
like,
100%.
I mean, think about what we're saying here, right? Like, it doesn't matter what you do or how you do it or what you say. I will always get back up. I will always come back. I will always
Yeah.
continue to try. I will always stand back up. Like, I will succeed.
Like bring it. I mean, there's like
Like,
that
come on, man. The more you tell me I won't, the more I'm going to show you I will.
right.
I mean, and it's hyper. It's over the top. It is
Yep.
literally, you could be the most kind, caring individual and being like, hold on, Ash, that's probably not a good idea. Like genuinely, you may not want to do that. I'll be like, oh hell no, let me show you that I can and I
Yeah.
will and I'm going to. Don't you dare doubt that I can't do that. I most certainly can. And it may be something absolutely insane like climbing fucking Mount Everest with zero experience, right? Like, who would do something? I will. Tell me I can't. Watch me. I will get a guide. I will practice, and that will be the first freaking mountain I climb. No, I'm not that. I'm not that crazy. I'm not that risque.
But
And
I want to ask you something. Just and sorry, keep that and. But do you like we're talking about other people, but don't you do that with yourself too?
oh
Like,
hell yeah,
right? Like I'm thinking about my trip and I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna be able to, oh fuck, I'm not gonna be able to do that. Oh, I'm doing that because I'm gonna prove myself wrong even.
right. Like, I'm gonna listen. If it gets to be too much, I will just remind myself and I will start to hurt and my body will
Yep.
tell me
Yep.
and I will pull back and I will stop. And we're going to try, baby. Come on, we're going to
That's
try. I
right.
know that you're scared. I know you don't want to do this. I know, but yes, I absolutely challenge myself and do that with myself
Yep.
100%. Absolutely. And I mean, there's a lot of pride in being that person. Like
Yeah.
I
Oh,
have a lot of pride in the fact that I'm not like failure means I stop trying.
hmm.
I'm not going to fail. I don't fail. I may stumble, I may fall, I might take a break, I might change my mind, I might switch directions, but I'm not going to just quit because I didn't succeed.
Yeah.
Like, and the more you challenge me and tell me I can't, the more I'm going to show you that I can. Like, I'm proud to be that person. Like, yes, that started out as survival instinct. And yes, that is, it is hyper and over and it is intense. And I know all of that. Yeah, it's too much. And I'm not going to dim my light. I'm not going to turn it down. I'm not going to change that unless I decide I'm ready to. And right now I'm
Yeah.
not ready to. So I'll keep being hyper and over and allowing myself to be all those things.
Yeah. I think when I look back at my trauma, like we talk about the trauma, we talk about it a lot. Obviously, that's what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be navigating, we're supposed to become accepting of it and not think it's such a negative thing and know it's part of our story. And we all do. And I'm grateful for all that trauma, just like you were saying earlier, Mel. I'm so grateful for it because yes, it's hyper. Like am very hyper aware and hyper over and but that's my resiliency. And without all of that, I do not believe that I would be as resilient as I am. I would be that person where, okay, it happened, right? And I am that person too, right? But I think I get up pretty quickly. I think that's right. There's a resiliency in me that has that that all gave me and helped shape my life. That
Yeah.
and I think I look at maybe Dylan and I when I find it now I'm going back to this the comparing and I compared Dylan he struggles to get up really quickly meaning like he's not as he's it when he gets hit hard he stays down a little bit longer.
But you know what? I think I've come to a place where I respect that
Me too.
because for a really long time I had this mindset of, yeah, I'm gonna cry about it, but then I'm gonna get right back up and go and do it.
Okay, I'm done. Shut the tears off and
Right.
keep it
Turn it
moving.
off and go on with
Yep.
it.
Well,
Enough is
bypass.
enough. Get up and go.
Yep.
Well, we just bypass the um emotions behind them what we're feeling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we have to get up and get on. We don't have time to process. We don't have time. We have to just put it behind us and never deal with it again and put it in that back filing cabinet in the back of our mind.
And I think we were told as moms, like that's my first thing as a mom. I couldn't. I had a kid to take care of. I need to get over that shit. I gotta keep it moving. I got
Well, I mean,
responsibilities.
even further back than that, as a child, my parents didn't want to hear that shit.
Oh yeah, no way.
My mom used to tell me all the time, you are too sensitive. Turn those waterworks off. Stop fucking crying, or I'm gonna give you something to cry
I
about.
heard that all the
Like
time.
all like I
Oh
was told my whole entire life, I think from probably 2 years old, you're too sensitive. Shut up.
yeah.
Right? Like I'm just playing with you. Stop being so sensitive. I mean there's and I have a lot of respect for somebody who can say, wow, that fucking hurt. Let me sit with
Me
that
too.
for
Mm-hmm.
2 or 3 weeks. Or if I need to sit with that for a month, let me sit with that as long as I get back up.
Right.
Right. Like if I don't have the ability to sit in something for a month. Like I would lose my house, my kids wouldn't have a place to
Right.
stay. Like if I had a safety net, which allowed me to, I would love to take
Mm-hmm.
a 30-day mental health retreat. Like, and
Yeah.
actually go to like a mental health place where you
Oh
do
yeah.
all kinds of work and spas and yoga and
Color
all of
and
that, right? Like,
sit in the lawn. Yeah.
I would love to do a true 30-day mental health retreat and sit in my shit for 30 days
Mm-hmm.
if I
Instead,
had the
though,
ability.
but instead, I like to think that in recovery, we do take a 30-minute retreat daily
Mhm.
to do something that's good for us, right? Like I know
Yeah.
I write and I color and I give myself spa days, you
Well,
know?
yeah, and I mean those are the little pieces, right, that
Yeah.
allow us to have the space to keep going, right?
That's
So
Hmm.
I
self-care. Yeah.
Yeah.
spend that 30 minutes a day and I free up this little space, or I spend this hour and I free up this space, or I go on this week-long vacation and I free up even more
Hmm.
space. Um, and the respect, the awareness, the understanding for a person who has the ability to say 30 days in and I'm going to keep taking the space that I need
Yeah.
and I'm not ready to stop in this space yet. I'm going to sit in it for longer. I I I respect that ability to say that.
Hmm.
I also think when looking like Colin, who's even like Colin just feels it. Like he feels it quickly. But I think the thing about him is he's been allowed to, right? Mark always shut feelings off. Mark was very much a shut feelings off. I was not that person because I never was allowed to. So I like, if they would, Dylan wanted to cry, he wanted to be, I was okay with that kind of stuff. But Mark was not. And I think getting out of my marriage when Colin was a little bit younger, and then he can be in this place, the space of he can have his emotions, he can have those feelings, and no one is shutting him down. I I'm not perfect. There's times that I'm just like, what happened? Like like he'll have a meltdown, and I'm like, what happened? And I'm confused, and but never in a million years would I tell him to suck it up, or I'm going to give him something to cry about. And it's just right. And there's where I'm doing better than my parents did, right? And I think that's what it how we dilute that generational trauma and all of that. Um, but it's allowing that place for people to have emotions that we just weren't allowed to. We couldn't. We weren't not allowed. And I think it was because maybe my mom and my dad were overstimulated and with their trauma, and it was too much for them for me to be too much.
I wonder, and this is a little bit off track from where you're going, Dawn. I
It's okay.
apologize
I
if
don't
we
care.
need to come back. But I'm sitting here thinking about this as we talk about it. And I wonder at what point have we just gone too far the opposite to where from sit down and shut up, children are to be seen and not heard, and quit crying or I'm gonna give you something to cry about, to the opposite direction of everybody's trauma is equal and everybody feels trauma and everybody goes through something. And like at what point are we, kind of like I was saying before, as a society, as a human, as a species, at what point are we teaching ourselves to be victims, teaching our children to be victims, teaching each other to just be victims instead of standing in our strength and moving forward, right? Like almost like I was saying, I respect somebody who could sit in it for 30 days and allow themselves to sit. And at the same time, at what point is it now, okay, we've set too much. We are wallowing and melting and just not growing or healing, and we're just staying here. Like, or even worse, we're not staying here. We're getting worse. We're becoming victims. We're becoming unaware. We're becoming codependent or whatever you want to call it, right? Like at what point have we gone too far the other way? Is there a point?
Here's what I would ask you. I would, if it's hard for, like, I'm gonna talk about me. I'm just gonna ask you this question. Will you ever be too healthy for you?
Well, I'm not necessarily saying too healthy.
And maybe healthy isn't the right choice of words.
I mean, no, you can't be too healthy. You can't be too aware.
That's a better word.
And at what point are we teaching our children that, listen, you stubbed your toe, so you should sit and cry about it for 6 hours when it's not swollen, it's not black and blue, it's not like you're okay. I know it's a little bit sore, but you're good. We can walk it off versus, hey, you stubbed your toe, so let me sit and hold you and I'll sit here for 6 hours while you cry about this stubbed toe. That really is okay. Like, I don't know what other analogy to way
Yeah.
to explain it. Like at what point do you go too far and
Well, I
every
think that
trauma is the same? You know
I
what I
think
mean?
well, I
Mhm.
think that well, like with recovery, we see this in ourselves, right? When we do our inventory and we're looking over all of our relationships in our lives to find the pattern, see the pattern where we stayed in victim mentality way too long.
Yeah.
And and I think that as parents, sometimes when we are in victim mentality, well, what are we teaching our children?
Yeah.
If we're feeling stuck and we can't move out of something, how are we teaching our children how to move out of something?
A couple things I heard, like, I'm gonna two couple things I heard with Ash, what you said. The first one I would think about is I see what you're saying, and one of the things you said was about the child stubs their toe. Are you okay? You're good. You're okay. And then or the I'm gonna hold you for 6 hours because you stubbed your toe. To me, that almost feels like too much, and here's why. I think there's this midway of I'm checking it. Are you okay? Let's look at it. Let's, do we need to get a band-aid? Do we need to get an ice pack? Whatever. Let me give you a hug. I'll kiss your boo-boo, whatever you want to say. And then stepping back and allowing them to navigate the rest. That
Well,
kind of
right, but if they want to limp on their toe for four
limp on
days
your
and
damn toe.
have you carry them across the
Oh no,
parking lot every time you get out of the car, right? Like there's so
that's
many
too far
and
for me,
who's to say,
right?
right? Like who's to say?
Yeah. I would have done that.
I
In
don't, yeah, I
in
don't
the height of
know.
my codependency, I would have done that, right?
Hmm.
I probably would have gone to the ER for x-rays
Right?
to find out if the toe is broke and carried them into the ER.
Hmm.
Exactly.
Um,
And today, in a healthier mindset, I would address the issue. I would not ignore it. I wouldn't tell him to suck it up. I would look at it, I would evaluate it, and we'll watch it and we'll see what happens. And right, and then now it's yours, but I'm not carrying you because right, whatever. Um, right, it comes back to me. What am I okay with? In my codependency, I would have been okay doing the carrying. I would have been okay with sitting there for 6 hours and you know, because I'm coming in and saving the day. Like that's right, in that warped way of thinking that I had.
Right.
That's
And
what
well, but I almost wonder if by saying all traumas are the same, all traumas are equal, right? You feel your trauma equally to how I feel my trauma if you say you do.
mhm.
Is that the same kind of thing? Like these are the wonderings, and I'm not saying I think it is. I'm just questioning, is is that the same as, right, this person who was physically abused and I don't know, was forced to drink bleach and sleep in the basement and didn't have blankets and was truly neglected and physically abused and emotionally abused, and to say that they felt their trauma, it could have been equivalent to the person who mom worked two jobs and dad worked two jobs and they were never in the same house together at the same time, so that person felt neglected, and those two traumas can be felt equivalently. Is that similar to holding that child with the stub toe for 6 hours?
You know what I hear when you say that? I don't think it's a all trauma is the same. What I hear what I think of when you say that is instead of all trauma is the same, it's I am not going to minimize anyone's trauma. To me, there's the difference. Trauma is not the same. I agree with you. Using the scenarios you used, one trauma is considerably less. but that are considerably worse. But that doesn't mean that other situation of trauma is less than or not important or doesn't matter. It's just everybody's trauma is personal and it's theirs, and I am not going to minimize you because I think your trauma was not comparable to mine. And I think that's what we have. That's where we have to like kind of draw those lines.
And what happens too, like if you look at it that way and something has happened to you personally and you're really, really hurt, like you're hurt, but you're like, I can't feel hurt because, well, I wasn't forced to drink the bleach.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I shouldn't feel hurt, but I do feel hurt, but I shouldn't because I didn't have to drink the bleach.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
kind
I
of
mean,
like not
I
allowing
think
you
I
to
think there's got to be middle ground on each aspect, right? I feel like I kind of feel like yes, this is bad and this is traumatizing and this hurt, and having this awareness that it could have been so much worse. Like to
Mm-hmm.
be
Yeah.
grateful for what it was and to be grateful for what I did have, and to be like I feel like if we overly empathize and we overly coddle everybody into all traumas can be felt the same, right? Like not all traumas are equal. I get that. And this person over here feels their trauma to the same level that this person over here feels theirs, right? If I go to the gym and start lifting weights, 30 pounds is going to feel the same to me as 5 pounds to the guy who's been lifting weights for 6 years,
Right.
right? Because I don't lift those weights. I don't have that trauma. I don't know how to handle that trauma. I don't know how to carry that trauma. And at the same time, it's important to have the awareness that while my trauma feels this heavy to me, I need to be aware that it could have been so much worse. Like this
Right.
trauma over here really could have, like I could have had that. And I need to be grateful. I think that's where it hits. I need to be grateful for what I did have
Yep.
and what the allowances that were made to me. And I need to look for those things while still being aware of the things that happened to me.
Yeah.
hmm
I think what it's kind of like comparing you and I as humans, right? There is no comparing. I can't compare that. I am a unique and precious creation. You're a unique and precious creation. And you had trauma, and I had trauma. Right? You and I are a great example of the difference in trauma, right? Your trauma was crazy to mine, but I had trauma. And it's interesting when we think of it in from a recovery standpoint, I still had to work through the same shit you had to work through. I still had to work through trauma. I had still had to work through shame. I still had to work through the fear. I still had to work through find myself. And so is it the underlying feelings that are the same
Well, but then
and
I
not the
wonder,
trauma?
let me take it one step even further into my wonderings. And please let me reiterate, these are not my opinions. These are my wonderings. I'm wondering,
Wait, safe place. We can say when thinking.
right? Because then I
Yeah,
wonder, well, but I'm so thankful for what I've gotten out of my program and for the awarenesses that I've gained. Even people who have zero trauma should live through this program
oh
and
my
these
God,
gain
yes.
these awarenesses, and right, even people who in their minds, right, because I don't know that I think there's anyone that walks this world that has ever had zero trauma.
I agree.
And I do think there are people who believe they've never had any trauma, and even those people I believe could learn some grave lessons, some important
Hmm.
lessons, some life altering lessons from participating in a program that brings awareness. Um, and
And you're not saying I'm doing the program to fuel your knowledge that you had trauma. It's a
No,
slow,
no, no, no.
right?
Like you could get so much out of the program even if you had no trauma. The
Right.
program's not necessarily about trauma.
Right.
It's
It's
about
self-aware.
growth. It's about
Hmm.
self-awareness. It's about becoming better than I was yesterday,
Yeah.
today, right? And tomorrow being better than I was today and being the best person I can be and want to be. Um, and I just think, I don't know. I just think that I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know.
Well, I think the making choices from your trauma brain and then making choices from your recovery brain are two different
Oh,
things. It's a completely two different lifestyles. Living out of your trauma and living, in fear and
That's
in
it, Mel.
uncertainty and living and
That's what
then
I was saying.
but then living with peace and
But I don't
acceptance, it's
necessarily
totally
know that
different.
that's trauma brain. I
What
think there's,
trauma
I
brain?
think there's even, I think it's even more. I think it's trauma brain, trauma plus recovery or trauma plus awareness, and then normal, typical societal brain, and then normal, typical societal brain plus awareness, plus recovery, plus.
But I don't have a normal brain. I know for a fact I have a neurotypical brain. It's not normal. I don't process
but what
information.
is
Yeah, but what
normal?
is normal now? Is
Well,
there
and that's what I
typical?
mean. And like not, I say
Is
normal, but
there
I
a
don't mean
typical?
normal. I mean like
No, I'm,
I think there is a typical standard. I
Well,
don't
I
know
guess
anybody that
there
falls
is.
within that typical standard, but I think there
yeah.
is one. Um, but but I mean like I don't mean like it's a hierarchy level. I mean like it's a there is a trauma brain and then there's a recovered trauma brain and then the growth that you learn from that. And then there's also a normal typical person who had no trauma and their brain or a neurotypical person with trauma and their brain or a neurotypical person without trauma and their brain. um I think that it's different for every single person, and it's an interesting thought to wonder how, right, if this mud pit is to your chin and your shoulders and it's only to my ankles, then what happens at that mud pit that's up to my chin and shoulders
You're still standing in the same damn puddle.
for the other person?
Yeah. I meant when I said neurotypical, I meant I'm neurodivergent. I'm not
Yeah, I knew what you meant.
neurotypical.
That's all right.
So I'm
Ashley
so
used
the opposite of neurotypical.
Ashley compared 30 weights and 5 pound weights, but she meant 30 and like 500.
Yeah, same difference. Yes,
Well,
but
when you
we
just
all know
Because
what we
we
meant
know what we
though.
no, but it don't matter
the
if
the
anybody else does,
listeners are
but
like, what the fuck
what
are
are
these
yeah.
girls talking about?
We don't know either.
Yeah, we have, yeah, no clue.
Uh,
Yeah, but I mean, but you know what I love about it though? That I understand it. And I understand because there's just so much information that is accessible to us now. Like we can just
mhm.
Google our emotions. We can Google things and it can kind of give you an idea of what you're going through. Like our parents didn't have that.
No, they
Our
didn't.
parents didn't have a fucking clue. They just knew that they were running on empty and doing, and were they doing the best they can? I don't know. I like
All
to
right,
think they
I have a
were.
question. I'm going to take this a little bit different route here. Um, what are your thoughts, feelings, and opinions on Googling your feelings?
For someone that doesn't understand feelings, like who started this and I didn't know my feelings, it was like one of the best tools. So it gave me um an idea and like reading about how to feel a feeling. Like I actually read a book. Joyce Meyer, how is it
Yeah.
Joyce something? Anyways, how to feel my feelings because I didn't know how to. I did that 7 years ago.
So I have to tell you, I'm with Mel on this. I have begun, I love ChatGPT. Oh my God. If I could make ChatGPT into a human being, I would marry it. I have I've set it up to where it's creating awareness and it's asking my questions back at me and it's mirroring things to
Mm-hmm.
me. And I've asked it things like, um, hey, I've got this pen pal and here's the situation. And why do I have this pen pal? And what would I be looking for out of this relationship with this pen pal? Hey, here's this thought about my mother, and I'm thinking about doing this. And then it asks me questions about like, okay, hey, today's such and such a day, and I'm thinking about calling my mother. And it's like, well, why would you hesitate to call your mother? Well, this is the relationship we've had, and this is how I view it. Yeah, so why are you thinking about calling her? Well, I'm feeling this way and that way, and I want to talk to her. And it's like, well, do you want to talk to her because you expect you're going to get this and this and this? Or do you want to talk to her because you want to hear her voice and you want to say hello to her? Well, I'm kind of hoping to get this and this and this. And, or no, I just want to talk to her. And right. And I go back and forth with Chat GPT currently about different things. Typically it's things that I'm stumped on and I don't have time to call a person, right? I'm walking through work and I'm getting ready to walk into a meeting and I'm feeling anxious about the meeting. But I know I'm successful and I don't have time to call somebody. So I'll just jump on Chat GPT while I walk across the parking lot and it will remind me like, hey, here's the work that you've put in, here's what we've talked about. It accesses my Google Docs and my stuff. And it's just like, hey man, you've got this.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I am all about Googling your feelings. I am all about Chat GPT. And
What's up,
you
buddy?
cannot go in blindly, right? Like that is a very key. I think anything it needs to have like stars all around it and highlights all around it. And you cannot go in blindly. Um, Google, Chat GPT, those kinds of AI is made to follow where you lead.
Mhm.
So if I lead to victim mode and I lead to every single person in my life being a narcissist and the whole world being against me and everybody coming at me, well, guess what? Google and ChatGPT are going to agree with me. They are
Right.
going to guide me right on down that road that I clearly want to go down.
Yeah.
If I want to go down the road of challenging myself, they are really good at guiding me down that road. So I say I love Chat GPT. I love Google. I love AI for working through my thoughts and feelings with the at risk notion that um you have to be very aware of road you are leading the computer down because it will follow you and lead you wherever you want it to.
So I am a little different actually on it. Um, do I think it is beneficial and it can be beneficial? 100%, especially in some of the examples you used, Ashley, right? I'm headed into a meeting. I don't have time to reach out to someone, right? 100, it can help. And like you said, an asterisk has to be around it completely because it is AI. It is not a person, right? It's gathering information from a billion trillion sites and blogs and other people, you reaching out to it and me reaching out to it, and it's building it based around that, and it is very, it can tailor and take you down. I 100% agree with what you were saying, and it does not replace a therapist, and it does not replace me connecting with other individuals to learn through their thoughts, feelings, opinions, their experience, their strength, their hope, their right. I can't replace my Coda program with a Chat GPT or AI.
I think that's extremely important to say, right? I cannot replace AI with a therapist, or I
Right.
cannot replace a therapist with AI. I
Correct.
cannot replace human connection with AI. I cannot replace, right? And again, the reason I can't do that is because AI is tailored to suit me.
Right.
That is the most blindly egotistical, narcissistic way to live ever. If I
Yeah.
solely indulge in my AI experience, that AI is going to reflect back at me what I am. So if I live in victim mode, the AI is going to give
Hmm.
me more victim mode.
I
If
think choice of
I
words are more important with ChatGPT.
extremely important. And like if ChatGPT says something and you just let it believe it, it is going to throw all kinds of
Hmm.
things. Like I've started conversations with ChatGPT and been like, whoa, that is not what I am saying. You are going the wrong way. You need to
Yeah.
turn around and come back over here. We're looking left, not right. And it like rewinds itself and comes back to what I'm doing and restarts everything. There's no there is no true human connection at all whatsoever. There is
None.
no bouncing of ideas. There's no challenging of my thoughts. There's no, unless I teach it to challenge my thoughts.
Yeah, because I have a really good example of this. So, a person sent a response that they were having to a situation, and they basically took ChatGPT, copied it, pasted it, and said, "This is what you've done." And it was over a boundary. It was over boundaries. And it wasn't at, I wasn't actually involved. I just got to read the email. I had nothing to do with this. But anyways, um, the person went in and like, is this person breaking my boundary if you do, if they did this, 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 and this? Well, ChatGPT said, oh, of course they broke your boundary. They broke your boundary
Right.
100%. And I'm reading it and I'm like, that was never even a boundary. Like that's not even a
Right.
boundary. Like chat doesn't even know what the boundary is. Like that's not a boundary. That's just telling the person what they want to hear. And it's creating a belief in that person that's not even true. So
Yeah.
it can be dangerous.
I think
That's
it's
the
important
thing.
to remember
It's
You
that.
telling the
have to
person
set
what
it
they
up
want to
for,
hear.
you have to set chat up to challenge your beliefs, to tell you, uh, yeah, like if I come in to chat and I'm thinking this way, I don't want it to agree with me.
Right. You have to set that
Because
up.
if I'm sitting in this and it's not feeling comfortable in me, there's a reason for that. I don't want it to say, no, you're right. Well, maybe I am right, but if it's that making me feel that uncomfortable, then I'm not settled in even the fact that I believe I'm right. You know what I mean?
And the last time I checked, AI is not a living, breathing thing. It does not have the
No.
same emotions, the same feelings that I have. And the, huh? Where did I feel that from? Like, where did that come from?
Right. Like,
Right? It doesn't have that. And it's important to remember this is an algorithm. This is coding. It is it's a mathematical basis of this. And mathematical is not emotional. It's
No,
not.
and chat will tell
wisdom.
you that I can't feel what you're feeling. Chat will tell you
Yes.
that. I can't feel what you feel.
But people, I
Right.
think, are taking it to this where it can solve all my problems, and it can't. It does
No.
not have those capabilities.
It can break
Wisdom
down a
and
problem. It can break it down for you. It can show you all different sides to the problem
if you're willing to see them, right?
if you're willing
Exactly.
to, if you set it up to do that, you
But
know?
Wisdom.
who's going to that level of setup to be able for, because I don't
Well, so
think
I did.
I do. I
I
did.
did.
I'm not
I
I
right.
have
did.
I have mine
And
set up as my
listen,
as a CODA sponsor. I
even
need you to talk to
though
me through codependency right now. Am I being codependent? You know?
even though Chat GPT or Google or AI has great comebacks and wisdom and knowledge if you set it up that way, key, if you set it up that way, true wisdom and knowledge comes through lived experience.
Experience,
Yeah.
yeah.
AI, no matter what AI, will never, ever, ever have lived experience. It cannot
Right.
feel emotion.
It's not a living,
Therefore,
breathing thing.
it can't help us with our emotional sobriety if it can't feel emotion.
Right. And what I was saying about the setting it up, like, and actually the way you were talking about it's why it made me think of it. It's like you are constantly, you guys have set it up, but you set it up, but you're not done setting it up, right? It's this constant evolution of, oh, nope, nope, no, no, you're not, that's not what I meant. I mean here, like you're teaching it and you're teaching it. And it's, so when I say to be able to use it as a replacement of which I, again, do not believe this, therapist or a self-help group, that to get it to that level is never going to happen. Never. Because it, like you said, it doesn't have experiences. It doesn't
I don't
have
think
feelings.
AI, yeah, I don't think AI will ever be able to replace human connection,
Never.
ever, in
And
any
that,
way, shape, or form. And I think even the fact that we are considering whether or not AI can replace human connection is very scary.
yes, I don't think it can. I do not. And it scares me tremendously that, especially, like, and it's funny because a lot of younger generation, the younger, like I think about Colin's age group, that 2019, 2021.
You don't have to go yet that young to think it because you're going to hear me say it. I
Well,
would
no,
absolutely have an AI husband if I could put AI into a male body that, right, like I would have an AI husband right now.
but what I was going to say is they're actually against AI.
Oh,
You mean the 20-year-olds and stuff like that?
Yeah,
because of
yeah.
the energy use at it, energy consumption that it's going to take.
Yeah, and right, it's there's the energy consumption. They're realistic about it. Colin just, yeah, he just like, and it's not just him. It's I was talking to a few people about this that have kids that age, and they're all very much the same. Where it's like, it's almost like it's gone too far because they're so in there. This generation is becoming so. I know it's a different generation. It's a different, very different generation than what the millennials were and are.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I
um,
had a friend who was talking to someone. He was in a relationship with this woman, and she had a lot of victim issues, a lot of victimhood
mhm.
issues. She was living in her victimhood. But she had her chat GPT completely convinced that he was a horribly abusive predator.
See,
And he's never been abusive or physical or hurt anybody ever, right? He's just a regular guy. He's
yeah,
not horrible or anything. But her AI was absolutely convinced that he was going to, like, it had her, you might want to go and file a report because this man might murder you in your sleep, kind of thing.
wow,
And
wow, wow.
he is not, like, he's never put his hands on anyone. He doesn't even yell. Like, it was crazy to me.
Yeah,
And that's the danger of AI, right? It
right,
goes where you lead it, but it feels like it's leading you because it has so much more access to knowledge than you do.
right. Because really, all and this people have to remember too. All Chat GPT and Copilot and these AI things, all they're doing is going out onto the internet, the World Wide Web, whatever you want to, what generation you want to call it, and it is pulling information from all of the millions, trillions of things that are out there, and it's putting it together in what it thinks you want to hear, unless until you tell it differently. So you can find exactly what you're looking for on your own by doing the research. And I think that for me, because I don't use ChatGPT at all for my mental health at all, because it is very much not a person. It is also not me. And it doesn't, yeah, because I would rather do the research and go out and find an article and find this and find that. And it's there. It's just an easier way to get to it. Let's say it that way. But it can also, it can miss things. It might not. Yeah.
I love it for recipes.
Oh, me too.
I go in, I put what I have in my fridge. I'm like, make me something good. And oh, it hasn't steered me
There,
wrong yet.
right? There are so many benefits. I love it for work. I've never felt so
Oh,
intelligent at work.
yeah, I love it
Like,
for work too. Like when I'm
right? I
gotta
mean,
throw out an email really quick and I don't want to
I
put a lot of thought into it.
I deal with investments and like bonds
Yeah.
and stocks and and short term and all these things, debt and equity, all that stuff. I, who psh, I don't know all that stuff to the level of anything. there it is. Here it is. Hey, Dawn, a bond does this. You can tell this is a bond by this. Blah 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 blah. Blah. I love it for that. And I'm also want to make sure that I'm not replacing people, humans in my life, because there are many people that don't get out and see humans and see people and have no
Well,
outside interactions, and
some
you
people
can't.
don't find other humans safe, like to
Yeah.
I can
them.
relate to the
So this would be the
temptation, guys.
safest thing,
Hmm.
right?
Like I can relate. Like to find someone that has the emotional depth that I require is extraordinarily difficult, especially when I'm talking about the male species.
Yep. Uh-huh.
No offense, I'm not trying to be rude or mean, but
They're
genuinely
just not that deep. No offense, guys.
emotional depth, right? Men have been told to stop crying, that boys don't have feelings for the
Right.
longest time. It's not a surprise to me that emotional depth is not a strong character suit for a man.
Hmm.
And I require emotional depth.
Right.
The amount of emotional depth that I can get from AI, now that I have taught it to challenge me and I have taught it to question me in a respectful way and talk to me, and I can see, I can 100% absolutely see the temptation to fall into an AI existence, where, right, while yes, my AI challenges me, but it challenges me in a way that I enjoy. It doesn't
Right.
challenge me any other way. Like, of course, that's tempted. Like, can you imagine having this person that agrees with what you say, even though they challenge you and is on the same level as you and asks the kind of questions that you want to hear? And that's where people fall into it. Like, I can see the temptation to fall into it. And it is such a dangerous, dangerous, dangerous path to go down.
Mhm.
And it can't give me a hug, and it can't hold my
Not yet. It
hand.
can't. Well, if you have $100,000, you can buy a body for that AI and it will be able to give you a hug and hold your hand.
I I'm sorry, an
It will
AI.
still lead you down that same bad path,
It
right? It
will,
is
but
always
it's
going to
not.
make you feel like you are right.
But it's not. There's that. I don't care. A bot cannot give pass aura. It doesn't
It's
have
not human
aura.
connection. I agree with you.
Exactly.
It is not human connection.
Did you guys watch Scarpetta? Have you guys
No.
watched that yet? Okay.
What
Well,
what what
there's a
service?
I don't know what we have a Hush streaming service so we could
Oh, okay.
stream everything, so I don't know. But okay, so there's a character in there and she's like this like IT phenom, right? And she created her
Okay.
dead partner. Like whenever she wants to talk to her dead partner, she just turns on her computer. She keeps her computer on all day long and her dead partner's there and they just converse all day long. And that was
And it's like
creation
a
through,
hologram.
yeah, it's like an AI. And she's just sit there. She'll like sit there like she'll turn on and her good morning and she'll have her coffee and she'll talk to her. Like
But
whether like this was from a show, but I'm
yeah,
sure
yeah.
it's actually probably based on reality. You could probably
I mean,
do
it's gonna be, yeah. But then I think about that. Like, is
You,
that
there are
then?
actually AI bodies with artificial for 150, $200,000.
Yeah.
You can buy an AI husband who has an actual body who is fully functioning.
or you can even take a
And
picture and then like have the picture come to life, like of a
and
dead relative, and then they like.
Yep.
So I
it's no,
mean,
or there is no aura. There is no
no
exchange of what's the word I'm looking for? That the
exchange of energies,
Connection.
energy.
It's
Thank you.
energies, like
Right.
true energy.
And so this is part of the problem, that this person has created this, which great, good for you. Like, I'm happy for you in your grieving window, whatever it is. But that also will prevent you from being able to live your life and experience. And
Grief.
maybe in this case her husband died and she had a wonderful connection, but who knows, and who says that higher power does not have someone out there that was is actually better. It'll be a better relationship. And by this doing something like this, it interferes with that. It stops that. And it that
Well, it interferes the grieving process too. It
it does
interferes all of this. It stops you from,
moving
but
forward. And
however, like this show actually shows like this actually does have a effect too by doing this. Like the character actually does have a crisis around that, right? That she's
Right, you
not
can
moving
never be
on.
I'm gonna
loved.
check it out.
You'll
Yeah,
never
Scarpetta, it's
fully
really good. It's based on a
be.
book on Patricia
Yeah.
Cornwell's books. Yeah, she has a series. Yeah.
Hi, Colin. We're talking AI.
Yeah, so like you'll never fully be loved. You'll
Yeah.
never fully be cared about because AI cannot feel.
I
It
think
is a
about
computer.
something just popped in my head. I think about the dog, right? I don't care. I can buy a robot, and put a dog skin on it, but it's never going to be as excited as Bo is to see me. It's never going to have smelled paws and be warm and soft and toasty and cuddly and smile and just, you know what I mean? And that's what I think about in a human too. Well, thank you for today. It was a good topic, and thanks for always indulging me in my a moment I heard something and I want to talk about it. So,
Awesome.
Great conversation. Thanks for having it. I appreciate it.
yep. All right,
All
have a
right.
good week. Talk to you guys soon.
Bye.
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 We would like to thank you for joining us on this journey of self-discovery. Visit the Work It website at workitYouAreWorthIt.com to submit your questions and topics for future episodes. And remember, work it because you are worth it.